Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. Our mission is to see a world well led. And our strategy to get there? To empower leaders like you to lead every day. So let's get to work.
Do you have enough leaders to do what you're trying to do? If you answer no to that question, you're not alone. Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. I'm Randy Gravett.
And I'm Mark Miller.
And Mark, we did some research and we found that there's a bunch of people that don't think they have enough leaders to do what they're trying to do, and that's a problem.
Yeah, we interviewed over 4,000 leaders from 6 countries, and 50% of those leaders say they do not believe they'll have enough leaders for the future. Now, what might be even more
concerning,
I'm looking for the right word here, a third of these global leaders said that they don't have enough leaders today.
Yeah, so if you're sitting here today and you're listening to this and you're thinking, our organization doesn't have enough leaders, that's a real problem. If you're trying to do something great, you're going to need leaders to help you do that. We started down this road yesterday of talking about a high performance organization, and we said the game has changed, right? We're playing a much more complex game. We've got more demanding customers, much wiser customers. There's the
complexity,
technology, all kind of things have changed. And we really think this idea of having a chess mindset versus a checkers, you can fly by the seat of your pants. One CEO told me he feels like he's playing whack-a-mole every day. He's hitting it and, knocks it down and something else pops up and they're just putting out fires. That is an exhausting way to think about your organization. And you actually, if you don't have this mindset of we need leaders and we're doing something to develop our leaders, we can really lose the game there.
Well, I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again. I'll probably say it a lot more in the future. We have not found a high-performance organization in the world that was not well-led. High-performance organizations bet on leadership.
That was the first move.
That's the first move
in our work. They bet on leadership.
Now, by the way, people have asked me for years now. We've been working on this project for several years, and they say, well, is it the most important? Well, there are only 4 moves, but I would say it's first among equals. Yeah. You can't win the game in the first inning, but you can lose it in the first inning.
Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago, I went to a Braves playoffs game, and I think we gave up about what was it, 10
or 12 or 13 runs in
whatever
the first
it was.
inning.
And so we played 9 innings, but the game was over.
Game was over. And leaders, organizations that don't raise up leaders purposely and strategically, they've lost the game, whether they know it or not.
Yeah. Now, doesn't it start with a definition of leadership? I know you guys worked on this. You didn't have a common point of view on what leadership really was, and that's where y'all started,
well,
right?
We started
let's define it.
Because we knew we needed more leaders, and we needed them now. Because when you have a problem to solve or an opportunity to seize, a very legitimate and common response is you put a leader on it. Yeah. Well, if you don't have a leadership bench, what do you do?
Yeah, you're in trouble.
You are in trouble, but you give those problems and opportunities to existing leaders, which works in the short term, but long term, it's a recipe for disaster.
Everybody's going to be tired.
Yeah,
for sure.
What you really need is a leadership culture. And the way we define that is a leadership culture is a place where leaders are routinely and systematically developed, and you have a surplus. Now, some would say the surplus sounds wasteful. The surplus lets you know that the process is working. You've actually got ready now leaders when you need them. When problems arise and opportunities surface, you got leaders to put on it.
Yeah.
And that starts with defining leadership.
I was with a leader just a couple of weeks ago that has a $2 million vertical that they're about to start in their business. And she said, I can't imagine trying to do this if we didn't have a leadership bench, didn't have somebody ready to take. I mean, they've got somebody groomed that's ready to take this on, but they've been thinking about that before. So many times we get an idea or something, we can't do it because we don't have the leader to be able to lead it, or we just have to try to take it on. And we only have so much capacity. There's just not enough.
So let me share another example. I talked to a leader recently who had started a lot of new businesses. And I've known this guy for years. And I said, tell me about this, because you used to have a business. I said, now you've got all these other businesses. He said, yeah, we didn't know what to do with all our leaders.
I love that.
He said, we raised up so many leaders that we felt the only way to be a good steward of that talent was to give them opportunities to lead. So we started all these other businesses.
Yeah.
What a problem to have.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah.
I love that. So I'm around leaders so many times who are they're bombarded by people who end up draining them. And I'm a big proponent of the people around you. If you're the leader, people closest to you should be putting life into you, not draining life out of you. I mean, they really should be helping you do what you're trying to do. And so as I start thinking about leadership, I go back to the old, my metaphor there is a metaphor. It's actually real. We're a popcorn family at my house. We love popcorn, and my wife got me to eating my father-in-law back in the day, he would bring us these kernels of corn, and we're a silver pot on the stove, oil, the whole thing, put the popcorn in there. And you may be a microwave popcorn person or silver, but I know a guy who's an air popper, he's like back old school, rocking the air popper. But here's what I've noticed is not all the kernels pop. I was talking to a guy who's actually in food science. He told me that 8% of the kernels don't pop. I'm like, I guess they measure this. I don't know. Somebody's on it, but it's he said it's a moisture. He's explaining it to me, trying to give me, and I'll probably butcher that. I'm not sure, but I do know not all of the kernels pop. And as you think about your organization, if you're not careful, you'll spend most of your time on those people who are not what I call popping. If you really want to develop a leader, let's just start with a leader. Who's popping right now? Who's showing up early and staying late and got a great attitude, and they got the skills and they got the heart, and they're an emerging leader. If we don't spend time, if we don't know what we're trying to build, go back to your statement of like, what's our definition, and then we don't start training those people, I think it's going to be rare that leaders they don't just show up. I mean, we've got to develop them, right?
Yeah, a lot of organizations are making the assumption that leaders will make themselves known. And the danger in that statement, it's probably half true, but you're going to need more leaders than are going to make themselves known. Yeah. And you need to be strategic, you need to be thoughtful, you need to be intentional. And I'll say there's more to it than defining it. We made that mistake. We thought after we had our definition, we were done. Yeah. Well, we were naive. And people started calling me and say, what do we do now? Yeah. And we realized that is step one in a more elaborate process of building a leadership culture. And I think we're going to talk more about that in the future. I'm not sure we're going to get into that today, but you have to start with an agreed upon working definition of leadership. And for me, I'm biased towards a very behavioral based definition. There are thousands and thousands of definitions out there for leadership, and many of them are academic, or they're theoretical, or they're conceptual. I'm in the camp that it needs to be behavioral. What is it you want your leaders to do? You need to know that, and you need to tell them so they'll know that.
Yeah. So if you're going to try to win this, whatever game you're in, you're going to need leaders to help you do that. And we think this idea of developing leaders it's huge. You get to decide what you're going to bet on. I like your word bet. I think it is a bet, because you're going to bet on leadership. You're going to invest in people, and there are going to be people who are going to leave you. They're going to break your heart.
Some can lead, some can't lead. Some can lead better than you thought. Some can't lead as well as you thought.
This is a messy ordeal that we're getting into. But here's the deal: you're either going to bet on a product, you're going to bet on a system or a process, and all those things are great. But I don't know that you can get to where you want to go. That rare air of high performance that we talk about, you can't get there without leadership. It's got to be led there, and you can't lead everything. You've got to have people around you at all. Remember, a couple of days ago, we talked about, are your people led at every level? Are they led well? And that really is up to you as the leader of the organization. Now, what would you say to the person who is not in charge of the organization, but still has a leadership role in that organization?
Well, leaders at all levels can develop other leaders. In fact, I think that for me, that's part of the responsibility. A leader who's not developing other leaders is not fulfilling their full responsibility. Yeah. So no matter where you are in an organization, are you trying to raise up another leader?
Yeah, I love that. So as we end today, let me give you just this reminder again. Who around you is popping? Who is that person that you can invest in? That one leader that you can help them get to that next level this year. I think this opportunity to bet on them. I wouldn't be where I am were it not for some people who have bet on you. You've bet on me. I wouldn't be where I am if it weren't for you. And I think of so many other people that have really helped me get to where I am. Who's that person today that you can help win? You can help them get to that next place. It is a bet. It is a gamble. They may let you down. They're not going to always get it right. But if we can get this this mindset that we have to bet on something. And the first move of all high performance organization is to bet on leadership. No organization is going to get where it needs to go unless it's well led. Your organization can be the same. So
you can't win the bet you don't place.
Yeah.
And you'll never be a high performance organization unless you place this bet.
I love that. I love that. Remember, the best leaders lead every day. Come back tomorrow. We're going to talk about alignment. It's the second move of high performance organizations. We'll see you guys tomorrow.